be with his workers and all his business partners and everyone who does business with him. I pray your divine blessings upon them, and may they continue to support his endeavors. And as we are here to celebrate with him, help us, O Lord, to also be in unity. And may we continue to look to you, because you're the author and you're the finisher of everything that we have done, we would have started. And we know that with you, you will complete it in a wonderful way. And so into your hands, Lord, we want to commend this program. May everything continue to be done well and in order. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Thank you. Be seated. For some reason this morning we are having a lot of lateness and emergencies. So bear with us as we proceed. Michael Jordan is undoubtedly one of the most renowned basketball players in sporting history. He was short in height early in childhood, and he often got rejected during the selection processes. So when he finally got fame, he once said, and I quote, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 3,000 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." And end of quote. Michael Jordan never gave up. He based his success on persistence, and he never gave up, and neither did Karim. Our distinguished guests, Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Honorable Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Marine Resources. Honorable Evelyn, Minister of Environment and Cooperatives. Dr. Jerome Thomas, former Director of Ministry of Agriculture and our special speaker today. Mr. Melvin James, Director, Ministry of Agriculture. Ms. Janelle Kelly, Senior Quarantine and Plant Protection Officer, Department of Agriculture. Mr. Levi Bradshaw, Accountant General. Members of the cooperative and sector and business proprietors, Mr. Chad Allen, Country Manager, Royal Bank St. Kitts, Mr. Alexis Nisbet, Chairman of the Board of the St. Kitts Nevis National Bank and General Manager of St. Kitts Biomedical Research Center, Mr. Alina Rosiri, Corporate Manager of First Caribbean Bank, Mr. Ramesh Molkano, Chief Administrative Officer of Windsor University, Mr. Clayton Perkins, Executive Director of Deline Walwyn and Limited, and also a client, Mr. Victor Williams, Williams Architect, also a client, Miss Alethea Clark, PADS, Mr. and Mr. Colin Williams, Royal Logistics, client, Mr. Leroy Brown, Partner I&B client, Mr. Calvert Williams, Calvert Trucking Service, Mr. Lionel and Mrs. Mavis Barrett, Central Guest House, client, Mr. Nigel Fletcher, Fletcher Extermination, Mr. Ernest Isaac, Neswick Enterprises, Ms. Teresa Walwyn, Destination Solution, also a client, Mr. Dwight O'Loughlin, Caribbean Refill, Ms. Sheila Chandaramani, Rams Trading, Mr. Roger and Doretta Freights and Sons Bakery, client, Mr. and Mrs. Colin Tyrrell, Citycom, Mr. David DiRienzo, owner Razor Construction, a client, Mr. Vincent Gomes, manager TDC Automotive Department and Rentals, also a client, Mr. Mitchell Gomes, managing director, St. Kitts Masonry Products, also a client, staff, KM Services, Mrs. Gwyneth Ward, Karim's kindergarten teacher, Ms. Suzette Cannonier, and students from the principal of Joshua Obadiah Williams Primary School, Mrs. Ivy Brown, our first client, Mrs. Brown, professional trumpet player, Miss Tiffany Richards, who's going to render a beautiful selection for us, James Bradshaw, who did the prayer, Miss Sandra Kelsick, Miss Bernice Kelsick, Miss Barbara Pistana, Miss Carmel Lake, Mr. Joville Rogers, Miss Doris Benjamin. We acknowledge other invited guests, church family, friends, well-wishers, and members of the community, members of the media, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and our viewing audience. Today we are here to witness our own homegrown success story of KM Services. As we reminisce the 25-year journey with Karim Maynard, you will hear about his frustrations, his persistence, dedication, failures, first love for his business and success, the journey of a quarter century serving this Caribbean. We will have a series of remarks by persons who played significant roles throughout the journey. Our first speaker was the first person Mr. Maynard ventured to do business with outside of St. Kitts. He was Karim's early advisor, and from these conversations, a relationship flourished because Karim found in him a kindred spirit. Let's now invite the Honorable Eric Evelyn to come forward to give brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson. Let me say good morning to all, and with the protocol already established, let me specially recognize my cabinet colleague, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Leader of the Opposition, and Mr. Jerome Thomas, and of course, the man of the hour, my good friend, Mr. Karim Maynard. I must say that I feel very, very humbled and privileged and honored to be part of this, what I call very auspicious occasion today. Of course, myself and Karim go way back. We have been friends for a very, very long time. And I think we share the common love of plants, and that is why we have been friends for so long. And of course, I am here to congratulate my good friend Karim on what has been, I think, an incredible journey for him. Of course, when I would have met Karim many years ago, his business would have been much smaller. But what we are witnessing today, 25 years of hard work and commitment and dedication from one of our very own local son of the soil here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And what this is demonstrating to us is that our very own local persons can go places, but you must have the right mix, and you must be able to be dedicated to the task at hand. Of course, Karim would have had his challenges over the years, but he never quit. And I want to congratulate him on the fabulous job and the great journey he has made over 25 long years. I can't believe that he's actually in the business for 25 years, because he's actually looked like he's just 22. And so, this is a demonstration that our locals can go places. And we must support our locals when they go into ventures like these and others. I think Karim is a fantastic role model for many of our young people. Because a lot of the times we believe that we cannot do things on our own and we must be working for someone else. Well, Karim has said no. I can do things on my own. I can be my own successful businessman. Because it's always well and good to be a businessman or a businesswoman, but you must have what it takes to be successful. I believe that Karim has what it takes, and I believe the business has what it takes. When I walked in here this morning, I was pleasantly surprised, because when I met Karim first, I knew him only at Bird Rock. I hadn't a clue that he had this fantastic, huge establishment here. I've passed here several times, but actually it's the first time I actually come in. I've been to the business in Bird Rock. But I must say, Karim, you have done a phenomenal job, and I must congratulate you. I think from my agricultural background, I can say you have quality plants here. And this augurs well for the growth of the business. I must say as well that when I walked in, your staff is very, very friendly, very professional. And so you do have the ingredients for your business to continue to grow and to thrive. So I want just to congratulate you heartily and to wish you 25 more and 25 more and 25 more years of success. May your business continue to grow. May the people of St. Kitts and Nevis continue to support you. And may you continue to be the astute businessman that you are. May you continue to be a role model for young people here in the Federation of St. Kitts. Thank you, God bless you, and congratulations.
Mr. Evelyn, we want to say thank you for your appearance here today, and we wish you all the best as you journey. We want to say thank you for coming, and your words would be solemnly accepted in our hearts. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Please forgive me for my omission. We have in our presence the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas, Leader of Her Royal Opposition and Constituency Representative for number 6. Mr. Alexis Jeffers, my brother was very worried this morning that you wouldn't make it because of the high seas. But he said to me, don't worry, if he has to take the helicopter, he would be here. So I'm so grateful that you're here, and it is your opportunity to tell us about your special relationship with KM Services or Karim Maynard.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Well, Madam Chair, you have established an eloquent, very good protocol this morning, but if I may, let me just recognize the Honorable Eric Evelyn, who is my colleague in the Nevis Island Administration and also a member of the Federal Cabinet as well. I also want to recognize the Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Denzel Douglas, of course, and the man of the hour, the star of the show, Karim Maynard himself, and all other dignitaries that are with us. I can call everybody's name because all of us have a major role to play in our life and existence here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But I want to welcome all of you, and I say it is indeed a pleasure being here. And I say a pleasure, yes, but it is with pride that I stand here this morning, because it is always a good thing to come and support your local people, local businessmen, local entrepreneurs, and everyone who do an honest day's work in order to receive an honest day's pay, and also to ensure that this country that we so love continues on an upward trajectory in terms of development. I see just arriving, and I'm going to scold her, my cabinet colleague, Minister of Health, Mrs. Akila Byron Nisbet. Thanks for coming. But yes, it's really an honor to be here, and I cannot speak as eloquently as Miss Minister Evelyn in terms of his association with Karim. What I can say, though, that I've been coming to St. Kitts for a number of years, and I've passed this particular establishment ever since just about 2000, thereabout. 2000, thereabout, yes. So it's been about, I'll say about 16 years, thereabout, or more. What I can say, though, is that when you look at an establishment like this, you would want to think it's been undertaken by a foreign entity. But what is so pleasing to me is the fact that Karim, as a local son of the soil, have invested his time, his energies, and all of the difficulties that he may have overcome to ensure that you have a successful business here 25 years later, celebrating a silver jubilee, we call it, 25 years of celebration. I want to say this morning, I'm not going to speak too much about all of the technical aspect of horticulture and agriculture and the likes. I think this is a moment for Karim and to heap all of the praises on him. Because you want to make sure that when we are done here today, that he's even more inspired to do more, to accomplish more. And 25 years later, which is going to be his 50th anniversary, God sparing life, we can come back and celebrate with him once again. Now, if you were to look inside of your leaflet, there are quite a number of persons whose quotations were included here for us to be guided by. And these are some of the quotations that I'm certain that Karim himself would have been guided by over the last 25 years. Well, Karim, if you would permit me to, I'd like to add one other. And that is by the 6th President of the United States, John Quincy Adams. He had a quotation that is attributed to him, even though some persons may say that it was not him, but I would want to attribute it to him because I wasn't there when he quoted it, or he did not. But it is written as it was him. So he has said that if your action inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. If your actions inspire persons to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, then you're a leader. Now, if you were to take that particular quotation and apply it to Karim over the last 25 years, then you would say to yourself, he epitomizes what leadership should be. And his leadership is all up and down this particular tract of land. But it goes beyond here. Because when the protocol was being established, I didn't hear any businesses from Nevis. But Karim, no, he does a lot of business in Nevis as well. I will say to you, when you pass the Newcastle police station, the new structure that we would have built there and opened recently, in December that is, when you look at the palm trees there, they came from here. The flowers that adorn that landscape were bought here. You may not know about this particular establishment, but it's at an area called Tower Hill. The company that has undertaken that development is Select Enterprises. Most of the plants were bought here. Isn't that so, Karim? Okay, so I say that to say this. Karim is not just a St. Kitts man. He's not just a St. Kitts business. He's a business that serves the entire federation. And I wanted to applaud him because that shows that he's spreading his wings, and he has spread them far and beyond the shores of St. Kitts. And of course, the plants may not end up in the United States, but someone in the United States is thinking about their plants right here in Nevis, right here in St. Kitts, that he bought from Karim, KM Services. And I want to say, Karim, the Federation is proud of you. It's proud of you, not only because you have done well in business, but you are clearly demonstrating to the entire Federation that we have the capacity and the capabilities, I must say, of accomplishing whatever we set out to accomplish. Other businesses have come and have had international influences, but your influences have come from purely local contribution. You have named a lot of businesses that you interact with. Some you do business in terms of paying them for the service they offer you, and some have come and have paid you for the services that you offer to them. You have also added to the overall landscape of this federation. Now, every tree that you plant is an addition to life in the federation. As simple as it sounds, a tree is life. It emits oxygen. That is what we inhale as human beings. So every tree you plant, and well, let me not say plant first, but every tree you destroy, tell yourself, you're destroying a life. You're destroying the very existence of us here in the Federation and on this earth. Some time ago, we had an initiative in Nevis which was to plant 10,000 trees throughout 2020. We did not accomplish that, but we got to as far as 6,000 trees. I believe, though, Karim can say he has added well in excess of 100,000 trees to the landscape of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Isn't that correct, Karim? Check your records, and if I'm incorrect, then you'll correct me someday. But if you were to check your records over the last 25 years, I believe 100,000 is still a small number. And that means that you have gone ahead and you have added to life here in the Federation. You have not only beautified the Federation, but you have also taught our young men and young women to get involved and indulge yourself in planting something. Plant a tree, whether it is for food purposes or non-food purposes. Plant a tree because you're adding to life, You're adding to our future. You're adding to the sustainability of this federation and the overall planet on a whole. We should think beyond our shores and think international, and that is why I said you're adding to the overall sustainability of the entire world, if I may put it that way. So, Karim, I want to say to you, I will be back to patronize your business. I want to encourage the entire Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis to patronize KM Nursery, Landscaping and Nursery. I want to say to all of us that supporting local means that you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your country. Karim provide employment for everyone who would have come through these gates and those who are still here. And other persons, a family member of yours, will certainly come through those gates someday to seek employment. It therefore means that employment would create the type of atmosphere where persons can feed their family, purchase goods and services from the same businesses whose names were called earlier, and of course, you would add to the overall development of our economy on a whole. I want to say, Karim, I am happy to have come here this morning to lend my support. You will continue to receive the support of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. You'll also receive the support in whatever way of the Nevis Island administration if we are called upon, because someday you may want to come over and establish as well. It is up to you. But while you're here on St. Kitts, we'll continue to provide the support. And let me encourage all of our citizens to continue to support local. Support your people. Support anything local because it translates into something exciting and something good for this federation. But before I close, let me also say, Karim, I'm certain that all of the administrations that you have interacted with would have lent their support as well. And I want to thank perhaps the leader of the former administration, Dr. Denzel Douglas, and the current leader as well, the Honorable Timothy Harris, for his support to small businesses like yours and small businesses throughout the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let us continue to grow together. Together we can succeed. There's always magic and there's always strength in being together. So unity is strength, they said, right? So we'll continue to unite as a federation and make it a much more prosperous country. Thank you very much for listening. And really, I want to close by just saying, Karim, as I started, congratulations on your 25th anniversary, your silver anniversary, and hopefully we can come back for the golden one. God bless you. God bless this entire business and this federation as well. Thank you very much. I'm getting a gift.
Minister Jeffreds, on behalf of KM Services, we want to present this small token of appreciation to you on our 25th anniversary.
And I think she was the one who took me over there to show me some plants some time ago.
Please let me acknowledge the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, Minister of Health, ICT, Entertainment, Entrepreneurship, and Talent Development. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, the Honorable Dr. Denzel Llewellyn Douglas, saw the potential of Karim, who was at the time a country boy, one parent, a mother, no degree whatsoever in horticulture, but Dr. Douglas gave him the opportunity against all odds, and for this, Karim is eternally grateful. Let's welcome Dr. the Right Honorable Denzel Douglas, leader of her royal opposition, to the podium, after which we will hear from our trumpeter.
Thank you, Madam Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Maynard. May I, of course, adopt the protocol, but recognize in particular the distinguished ministers of government, of the federal government who are here. That is Mr. Evelyn, Mr. Jeffers, and of course, the Honorable Akila Byron. Other distinguished guests, especially speakers who would come after me, and visitors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am indeed very happy to associate myself and the parliamentary opposition with this very important activity taking place here this morning. That is the ceremony to mark the 25th anniversary of the founding of KM Services, landscaping in particular, and nursery services. I believe that this is a milestone that very many of our businesses would love to achieve. And so I believe that Karim deserves yet another round of applause for taking this business, this small but growing business, to the point of 25 years. And it would appear as if he's expanding and ready to go for another 25 years. The administration that I had the opportunity to lead for some time was responsible for the transitioning of the economy of St. Kitts and Nevis from that of sugar agriculture to one of services. Of course, we always had agriculture, sugar agriculture. But in terms of other agricultural services, they were very few and far in between. Today, we can boast that a service that started from scratch has eventually grown to what it is today, so that it contributes significantly to the diversified economy, especially with services that we had dreamed for. We remember the difficulties that we went through when, back in 2004, we faced the realities of a dying sugar industry. We did not know exactly how we were going to fare, but with the help of others, we moved along and decided that we would bring into this country agriculture in a way that it would make a significant difference from what it was under sugar. Today, Karim, I'm sure KM Services is providing opportunities in employment for our people. He is adding to the national economy, I believe, in several ways. Because as we established ourselves in tourism and hospitality, we have brought a number of hotels to our country, and I'm sure all of them would have relied upon Karim Services to a large extent to ensure that the ambience and the quality of service that they provide would be enhanced. Again, I believe that with the additional service of horticulture and, of course, nursery, the landscape around this country, the offices in this country, the homes in this country are of a different quality. It was just last week I had some conversation with a good friend of mine who apparently was trying to find some of the flowers they had been accustomed to use during Christmas time, the Christmas poinciana. And they were very much surprised to learn that because of the COVID restrictions and difficulties abroad, there were going to be very few opportunities to continue to import in the way that people would have wished. And I believe, therefore, that KM Services would be advised to try his very best to see how whatever we have today here in St. Kitts and Nevis from abroad can in fact be used to bring new slips and plants so that our people here will be able to receive the benefit and, of course, the quality of support that they would have had for their businesses and for their own personal well-being. I want to say one thing before I close, and it is, continue, my friend, to pursue your dreams. Karim is very proud of what he has achieved. Every time I met him on the streets in Bastille, he always said, don't forget to come on the 12th. I'm pleased that I am here. I've taken your advice. I am here. But there were critical decisions that I had to take, that we had to take when we were in government. And one of those was the preservation of this as it is today. There were pressures to make this available for housing. Yes, of course, we need housing, but we also need to maintain the quality of what St. Kitts and Nevis has been known to be, Lyamiga and, of course, the Awali. And so I say to you, Karim, pressures will come, but continue to ensure that there is preservation of this landscape for the purposes for which it has been designated. I want to thank in particular persons in the Ministry of Sustainable Development many years ago who, when we closed the sugar industry, set about to ensure that there was a proper mapping of what the lands of St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Kitts in particular, would be used for. We designated this area, Lamberts as well, Capistier, St. Paul's, and all those areas in the Capistier area, the books and farms estate areas in the hills, that these should continue to be areas for horticulture, agriculture, food production, and other services in agriculture. And so I thank people like Mr. Williams and others who were there in the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Mr. Edmead, and all those who were there who indicated that these would be preserved for that particular purpose. And today, 25 years after, we are still where we intended it to be. Thank you, Karim. Thank you, my dear people, those of you who work here. Continue to lend the support that is necessary as we work hard to continue to thrive with a diversified agricultural sector here in St. Kitts and Nevis. God bless you. Thank you.
On behalf of Karim Services, we'd like to say thanks with this token. Take a picture. Take the picture.
It is not often that your lawyer becomes your friend. As a matter of fact, it's rare. But Mr. Clayton Perkins did, and his guidance helped Karim to put things into perspective. As a matter of fact, time took it further, and don't be surprised if you hear us calling him bro. Come tell us about it, Mr. Clayton. We welcome you to the podium.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to start by adopting the protocol that's been established. I think this is the first time in my life that I have followed so many distinguished politicians in speaking and eloquent speakers. I don't think that's a good thing for me, but I shall do my best. So as Cavell said, Karim really is somebody who has become very special to me and important. I've known Karim now for probably about 20 years, or if not 20, close to 20 years. Like many of you here, it started off as a business relationship, as a customer. And because of my love for plants, which many people may not know, but I have a real affection and love for the garden. So because of my love for plants, I ended up buying a lot of things from Karim over the time, and we just got to know each other, and he's helped me plant out many different projects. And so it's a business relationship that has really become truly a friendship, and I value that friendship. So it's a privilege for me to be here this morning and to be given the opportunity to say a few words. As I thought about this morning and what I might say, there was something that struck me, and it was an experience I had several years ago, probably about 12 years ago, as I first entered the business arena from law. And I had the opportunity, I was overseas on a conference, and I had the opportunity to have dinner with a gentleman by the name of Rick Merle, who at the time was the president of Tropical Shipping, which many of you would be familiar with, one of the companies we represent. And he at the time was in the latter part of his career, very distinguished, successful executive. He had done many things to make Tropical Shipping the very strong shipping company that it is. And he gave me a piece of advice that's always stuck with me. And I thought of Karim as I was thinking of this morning. He said to me, as a younger businessman, and give me some advice, he said, I want to tell you one thing that you should always do. He said, no matter how difficult it is, always do what you say you're going to do. And he said, there are going to be times in business where circumstances will change and it will become difficult to do what you've committed to do and you've said you will do. And even in those difficult moments, you must do what you promised you would do and take the pain that comes with it. And so in the 20 years I've dealt with Karim, I have never seen Karim shirk away from any circumstance, even when it changes. And I have seen some circumstances for Karim where things have changed and haven't been what he exactly was looking for. And there's many conversations that Karim has had with me about his business. And so I'm aware of some of those circumstances, but in not one of those circumstances has he ever failed to deliver on what he promised to do. And so I want to highlight that today and really commend Karim for having that commitment to his business and to his customers to always do what he's committed and promised to do. And I think, frankly, Karim runs his business with the same way that he treats people, which is with honesty, kindness, decency, and diligence. And that is not something that is easy to find. And it's not always something that's easy to do in business. There are pressures of business and there are demands of business, and whether they're financial or human resources or whatever they may be, there's lots of pressures in business and lots of circumstances in which it's easier for us to take a different route that is more self-serving and makes our life easier, but doesn't always serve others well. And Karim never does that. And I think just as I wrap up, I think one of the things that I would like to mention that I know is important to Karim and where he's reached is there have been many a times, whether it's in a business conversation or a personal moment, where Karim has referenced for me his close relationship with his mother. I've never actually met her, and hopefully one day I will. But Karim has often spoken about that close relationship with his mother and the fact that the way she raised him and the love she gave him and the support she gave him has made him who he is today and has enabled him to be the success he is. So I want to take a moment to acknowledge his mother and what she's done, and also to say to her, job really well done. He's a phenomenal person, so really well done. So with that, Karim, I'd like to wrap up by wishing you 25 more years of success. Continue to do what you do the way you do it, and you will have that 25 years easily. Congratulations and well done. Thank you.
On behalf of Karim Services, we'd like to present you this token of thanks.
Thank you.
We'll now hear from Mrs. Brown. quite soothing. Our special speaker is Dr. Jerome Thomas, who is one of the many persons who can relate to my brother, and if I may here say, consider a true friend. This friendship came about because one is a horticulturist and the other an agriculturist. Their love of the earth and what it can produce blossomed this friendship to such a level that Dr. Thomas was willing to quarantine himself for 14 days to ensure he is here at this auspicious occasion for my brother, and for that we are thankful. Dr. Thomas, you are one of the persons who have made a lasting impression on Karim, and we couldn't think of anyone else but you to deliver these special remarks. I am sure you were one who encouraged him to fall 7 times, but get up on the 8th. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Dr. Jerome Thomas to the podium.
Good morning. It feels like coming back home. This is where my roots are. I was born in Phillips, where we call it Phillips if I'm from over here. And I grew up in Molyneux and Mansion. The protocol has been established, but I'd like to also recognize the, I almost said cabinet colleagues, but the honorable, honorable members of the parliament. And of course, our very special guest of honor, Karim. I call him Karim. When we discussed what I would do, I told him I would do something brief and I would call it reflections. It would reflect a bit on the relationship that we've had over the last 25 years. It's a long time. You can see the color of me here. I wish to extend congratulations to Mr. Karim Maynard for achieving this milestone in his professional life, giving 25 years of outstanding service to his many clients in St. Kitts, I would say now, and Nevis and beyond. I also wish to express my sincere appreciation to Karim for inviting me to participate in this 25th anniversary celebration. When I received a phone call from him in December last year, inviting me to be here today, I immediately said yes and began all the necessary preparation to participate. At that time, I was already away from St. Kitts for 10 months, and my greatest challenge was making the mental adjustment to spend 14 days in quarantine due to the presence of COVID-19. The alacrity of my response reflects how proud I am of the success achieved by a fellow villager who allowed me into his professional life during various stages of his growth. I will spend the next few minutes reflecting on the professional life of Karim Maynard. I first interacted with Karim during the second half of the 1990s when I visited Molyneux on a regular basis, mainly on Sundays. At that time, Karim had begun establishing plants in his backyard, which is just back up here, and on neighboring empty lots. We would meet and talk about the plant propagation and the required cultural practices for achieving good growth of ornamental plants. I remember pointing out the earthworm in his soil mixture, I don't know if he remembers that, and explaining the benefits of his action to good soil quality. From his early days, I admired his positive work attitude and attention to detail in whatever he was doing. In 1996, Karim took a bold step by offering the service of landscaping personal properties to potential clients in Molyneux, Bastia, and Frigate Bay. Over the years, the business developed into KM Services, which has focused on landscaping a wide range of premises from individual yards to commercial properties. He has also developed his plant propagating skills, producing a wide range of ornamental plants, as you would have seen coming in, and along with some fruit trees. Over the years, he has maintained premises for up to 280 clients, and I have been fortunate to be one of them for most of that period, nearly all, maybe a short by a year or two. And the confidence I have and positive impression from is I'm mainly away from the country. And I live in Matlin, people in Matlin may ask, who keep up your yard, who maintain your yard?
And without hesitation, I strongly recommend Karim for his service. He's very reliable. As I said, over the past 25 years, he has maintained premises for up to 280 clients, and I have been fortunate to be with him for most of that period. He fondly remembers his first Frigate Bay client in the person we all know as Mr. Kassab. One of his big customers in the early years was the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, where Karim and his team maintained the grounds for several years, mainly on Sundays, and over the period 2000 to 2015. He continues to maintain the official residence for the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank's governor. Some of his other larger scale clients include Reed Data Services, Gyro Electronics, Electrofab, and Omax Gardner. For several years in the late 1990s, Karim also had responsibility for maintaining the grounds of the Department of Agriculture at Laguite, as well as the War Memorial on a few occasions. KM Services also exhibited in the early years of the Agricultural Open Day at Laguite and was missed when he no longer participated. My colleagues thought that I was responsible, but I had nothing to do with that. Some of you would know that Karim had other skills besides those associated with agriculture. During the passage of Hurricane Georges in 1998, my house at Mattingly lost some asphalt shingles from the roof. What I remember is where I lived, there were 3 or 4 empty lots at the time down the road. And so after the storm passed, generally there would be a shortage of building material. So I went in my yard and I picked up some shingles, and I went to a hardware in Basti and bought the replacement shingles so I can get someone to put it on. The person I got was Karim. And when he came and he went on the roof, he said, "But you have the wrong color." What I did not realize is that the shingles in my yard were blown from the yard down the road, and my shingles were up the road. Karim has been the designer and contractor for most of the physical work that you see here at Molineux location, as well as the site in Bastia, including the office building. He's not only a jack of all trades, but has mastered most of what he has attempted. On several occasions, he has faced challenges from windy conditions like today, sometimes much worse than this, resulting in significant infrastructure damage, but has always found ways to overcome. He has also suffered from theft at both locations, but has found the inner strength to carry on. Beginning with a small operation here in Molineux, Karim has expanded to Bastia and is developing this operation that you're observing here today. The enterprise has moved from landscaping to a full ornamental plant nursery, providing a wide range of tropical plants and complemented by a full-service team. His life has clearly demonstrated that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, that it can achieve. I've had the fortune of sharing some of his dreams over the last 25 years and really admire how he has grown. I observe that he's not afraid to explore new areas of operation and to venture when detailed analysis shows strong potential for success. I have seen in Karim an ordinary person who, through hard work, is achieving extraordinary success. I consider Karim a positive role model and an inspiration to young men. He has shown that ambition and hard work can lead to a successful and rewarding life. He has demonstrated that one does not have to depend on anyone for handouts or even providing jobs. He has actually provided scores of jobs and employment opportunities for young men who are willing to work. From his humble beginning, he has developed into a highly successful entrepreneur who continues to diversify his business activities. As someone from Molineux Village, I'm proud of the success that KM Services has achieved. It's also very pleasing to know that the success has been achieved in the area of agriculture. Karim, I urge you to continue with your positive attitude and wish you every success for another 25 years. Thank you.
On behalf of KM Services, and as we celebrate our 25th anniversary, really enjoyed that. Maybe we'll call them back at a later time. At this time, I want you to focus your vision on the screens as someone special tells you about someone extra, extra special.
Distinguished guests, family, friends, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to extend a warm good morning and a happy and healthy 2021 to come to all those present. My name is Karim Maynard, and it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce our speaker, the man of the hour, my dad. The number 25 is significant and special in every way, ranging from life, marriage, and career development. 25 is denoted with wisdom, with a touch of diplomacy and curiosity for the future to come. The proud father, son, CEO, and entrepreneur, Mr. Karim Maynard, wears many hats both within and outside of his businesses. If I had to pick 3 words to describe our speaker, it would be dedicated, loyal, and a transformational leader. In 1996, Chem Services was a mere thought piece. However, with a dream and key supporters such as those present today, Chem Services is a success, proudly serving thousands of customers across 2 office locations within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis for 25 years. Today we join in congratulations of success to Mr. Karim Maynard and KM Services as he regales us briefly in his experiences. So without further ado, please help me welcome CEO and owner Mr. Karim Maynard of KM Services.
I feel like dancing. I know you'll laugh after me, Mr. Jeffers. Ladies and gentlemen, can I not be restricted and just go back for the mic? I've been restricted all my life when I was small, and now I'm all grown up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. I like to adopt the protocol that has already been established. I didn't start out wanting to be an entrepreneur. In fact, I didn't even know what that was. I didn't start out wanting to be a businessman. You see, I was very stammered. As I entered my kindergarten, I had a very special teacher, so I did not know that I had a problem. She loved us and she made sure that she will make us feel as special as she can to make us become somebody. She loved us. And I speak of none other than Teacher Gwinnett, my kindergarten teacher. As I moved on from grade 1 to grade 2 and grade 3, I realized that I have a problem. People start to laugh after me. My classmates will mock me. And they will make me cry. Sometimes, lunchtime and break time, they will actually walk behind me, stammering. I was very timid as a young man. My mother decided at 9 years old that I will go and learn a trade with a mutual friend of hers who was a contractor. And it was not like the normal 8 hours a day and 5 days a week. He would pick me up at 6:30 a.m. and drop me off at 7:30 p.m. And I only got away with not working on Saturday. I worked from Sunday to Friday, and only didn't work on Saturday because my mother was a Seventh-day Adventist. The work was hard. Being 9 years I received my first paycheck. I was excited, so when I get dropped off, I rushed in the house and I all excited, opened my envelope and it was $50. I was upset and I went to my mother and I said, listen, I can't do this. $50 for all that work, all week? And she encouraged me, you have to go back. You have to learn something that will be beneficial to the end of your life. And many times I'm upset, but you can't tell your mother, you could tell your mother that you don't want to go back. But when she says you have to go, you better go. So many times I would complain to mommy and say, listen, no, I can't do this. $50. But she always encouraged me. And one thing she told me that stuck with me. What you're doing is not for him, but you're doing it for you. I then went to high school. In my nice short pants and my nice dress shirt, looking sharp and handsome. The teacher came in the class for the very first time and she introduced herself and she said, I want you all to stand and give your name and where you're from. I was in the second row, the fifth person from the end. And I'm there practicing. I'm there praying that I do not stammer because I want to make an impression on my classmates. The girl next to me introduced herself. And when she finished, it was my turn. And I stand. And Evelyn, I'm still standing. Because no words came out. The girl next to me said, his name is Karim Maynard, and he's from Molyneux. Everybody laughed. Even the teacher laughed. I was devastated. Soon after I graduated Cairn High School, still stammered. I went and seek employment in the construction industry. Got a job at Horizon Villa at the time. But because of my skill and my dedication, I was quickly promoted as a foreman carpenter into that business. While I was there working a few months, we were building walls and just the architect of it was marvelous. How we put forms together, create and pour concrete, and just create a masterpiece. But when this company came in from overseas to plant some plants around the building, when I looked at it, it was a masterpiece. I said to myself, but I could do that. Why did they bring these guys from overseas to do that? I could do this. 2 years later, I lost my job as a carpenter because the company closed down. And construction is not like how construction is. You work 6 months and then you go home seeking for a job for another 6 months. So I went home and my mom was very particular about her yard. I like to see it groomed, but the guy who should maintain her premises and the neighborhood premises, he will never come on time. He's always late. Sometimes 2 months, 3 months, he run away and he comes, cleaned up half do, and then he gone again. You can't find him. But I understand why now. He was only charging $25. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to go and purchase a lawnmower from TDC. And I did purchase a lawnmower. When I came home, I started mowing my sister and my mother's yard. Soon realized that I need a trimmer. My sister was traveling to St. Martin that same week when I thought of it. I gave her $50. Little did I know that my sister is going to buy a weed eater that's going to cause me to repair it every time I use it. So many nights I will stay up repairing these machines to make sure that I'm ready for the next day. Then I get a call from a mutual friend who was close by my sister. And she said, Karim, I would like you to maintain my premises. She was my first paying customer. Let me repeat that. You didn't hear that. She was my first paying customer. And I speak of none other than Ivy Brown. She's sitting right here. My first paying customer. And she said she wanted me to maintain. And after a while, I began to maintain around the neighborhood. And a mutual friend who was passed, she said, Karim, I want to introduce you to somebody. And it was Sam Kassab. I got introduced to Sam Kassab, and then I realized I cannot be stammered anymore because I have to speak to Sam Kassab. Little did I know I would still be stammered. But I started to muscle up the energy to be able to speak. And even if I stammer and you laugh, that's okay. That's just a small part of me that had a defect. And it's not a bad defect, it's a good defect because I'm here today standing before you. So I started maintaining the neighborhood around Kassab, and I realized I need workers, Jerome. So I got workers. And I realized that they mow the plants down many times and say, it's an accident. They will trim the plants and say, it's an accident. We're going to go with it, it's an accident. So I start seeking plants around the neighborhood and friends and say, do you have some plants? People had a little backyard with 2 flowers and 3 flowers. So I would go and purchase plants to replace the client plants. Soon we realized later that the price keep going up every time I go back. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to start a nursery in my mother's backyard under her coconut tree. So I started that nursery. And then I realized, and that's when KM Services Nursery was born. I realized that I have to expand because this is not enough to keep up with the demands of accidentally cutting down the plants. So I then had a vacant land next to my mother, and I cleaned it up, and I then established a nursery right there. All excited, I outgrew that very quickly. Then I realized that the demands for plants become so much greater that I start seeking more land. So I went to the farmer government at that time, which allotted me a piece of land up to the top, and I outgrew that quickly. I did tell him it was too small, but I outgrew that quickly. I then went and realized that my business is expanding and I need to have a presence in Bastia. And I met an amazing person who have made an impact in my life, is Mr. Kisho. A mutual friend told me to go and speak to Mr. Kisho. And when I went, he saw the little boy, stammering boy too. And he said, Karim, I'm going to help you. And now today, we are still on that same property, our nursery extension in Bastia. Put your hands together for Mr. Kisho. You see, when I have to stop here for a bit. When Mr. Kisho comes by me, he's not coming for rent. He's coming to encourage me. He will sit in my chair for many hours just talking to me about business and trying to find out how good I'm getting on. And I want to say thank you for Mr. Kisho. Ms. Kisho, thank you as well. I then realized that I had to fulfill my nursery branch, my branch in Bastia. So I went back, of course, to the farmer government that I told him that it was too small from the first instant. And I said, listen, I need a bigger piece of land. I need to expand. I need to supply my nursery. And in 2007, I was allotted this land. And now we are here celebrating 25 years of being in business. It was hard. No one could have convinced me that this would have been possible. No one could have convinced me, being stammered, could barely call 2 words, that I will be standing here talking to you without stammering, right? Without stammering today. No one could have convinced me that I will own a business called KM Services. No one could have convinced me, raised by a single mother, that I will be and achieving what I achieved today. No one could have convinced me I will make 25 years. This is a long shot. I want to encourage everyone hearing my voice that don't give up on your dream. Because I didn't give up on my dream, I am here where I am today. Keep fighting for your dream. It doesn't matter what situation you're in right now. It doesn't matter what is happening around you. Keep going, running after your dream. I have not stopped dreaming. Because one day, I dream that I'm going to build a mega garden center right where the cars are parked. One day, I am going to export plants to the Caribbean island. One day, my dream will be possible. And your dream can be possible as well if you just keep dreaming. I want to say thanks to God, the Almighty. You know, He has blessed me so much that I could make an impact. I could make a difference. I want to thank my mother for believing in me when my belief system didn't exist, to see what I can become and what I have become. And I'm so grateful that she's alive today to witness this moment. So much alive today that she can witness this moment, because I am her product. I am what she dreamt of. She saw this for me long before I saw it for myself. Can I ask my mom to stand? Mommy, could you stand? Come on, put your hands together for my mom. Thank you, Mommy. I appreciate you so much. I want to thank God for my teacher, Gwyneth. She really made us feel special. Teacher Gwyneth, could you just please stand and give them a wave to see how young you're looking still? I want to say thanks to Ivy Brown that she believed in me and gave me a chance. Could you just stand and give them a wave, please? I want to say thanks to the past and present administration to believe in a young man with no degree, no agriculture background, but took a chance. And I'm sure they have not regretted. I want to thank you all for your continued support, for the jobs and for the well-wishing, and for the expansion that we're going to be doing there. And also, I'm thanking you now for the permits to export the plants to the Caribbean islands. I'm thanking you in advance. And I'm thanking you for the rest of the next phase of the land after that. I want to thank my friends, my family, my sisters, who have been a backbone for me, Eldon and Cavell. They always supported me. I want to say thank you to Kennedy Herbert and Earl Stephen and Colin Tyrrell. To my 3 children who put up with me, Kamal, Karina, and Karim, as I work so hard in KM Services. I also want to say thanks to all my clients. You have been an inspiration. You have been a motivation. You have always supported me, and I want to say I'm grateful. I have a lot of friends because of this business. I met a lot of people that I would not normally meet because of this business. And if to my boys and girls, if I did stay stammered, I just stammered, didn't it? If I stay stammered and let it affect me, because I'm still stammered, if I continue to let it affect me, I wouldn't be where I stand today. But I want to know 2 friends. I want to point out 2 friends. One is not here, but I will still call his name. We've been together for 9 years old, and this is not an ordinary friendship. Mr. Evelyn, we don't call each other often. Sometimes a whole year and we haven't spoken to each other. We don't go to the house. We don't go to each other's houses. We don't even go out. But when we pick up the phone and need something, I mean, it's like a racetrack. They come to my assistant, and I go to the assistants as well. I speak of none other than Calvert Williams, better known as Decky, and Carl Davis, better known as Bolo. Decky, can you just stand with the guys, see how handsome you are? Thank you, brother. Thank you. This has been my friend since 9 years old and still going strong. I want to say thanks to everyone who have lended your time to be here to celebrate this moment with me. I couldn't have done it without you. I want to say thank you. I really, really appreciate it. In celebration of our 25th anniversary, I want to give back to my community. I want to give back to my country. So I have donated 25 foxtail palm to enhance the island main road right across there. See, my mom believed in me. My teacher, Teacher Gwyneth, believed in me. Jerome and Clayton and Kassav, they believe in me. And the past and the present administration still believe in me. So I decided I want to show the nation children that I believe in them. So I've sponsored 25 children throughout the primary school of our federation, St. Kitts. I have sponsored them with a monetary donation to help them on their schooling because I want them to know that because somebody believed in me, I am here where I am today. So I want them to know that I believe in them. Thank you. can be seated. But the screen is showing the children that we did the donation to. And I missed something that was very important, and I must interrupt to come back. My past and present staff has been the shoulder for this business. And I want you to put your hands together for them. They work hard, and I couldn't do this by myself. So I had to interrupt to come back and say, thank you, I appreciate all of you, and I do not take your all work for granted. Thank you.
Karim, don't sit. Mommy, please stand. I don't want to say much because this is a very emotional section of this program. Because if you know where we were to where we are now, you would understand. But we just want to say thanks, bro. You've made us extremely proud. We will continue rooting for you 25, 50, 100 years from now. And may your business continue to grow from strength to strength. And may God continue to bless your efforts, your life, and your contribution. Mommy, please stand as Karim brings you on. I hope you saw the vision today of KM Services, and we look forward to bigger and better things. I take this opportunity to extend courtesies to the following persons who made today's proceedings happen. We thank you. The Joshua Obadiah Primary School for the National Anthem. James Bradshaw for his prayer. Honorable Eric Evelyn and Alexis Jeffers for your remarks and for coming across the waters. The Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas for his words. Miss Brown for playing the instrument so lovely for us. Mr. Clayton, his brother and friend. Miss Tiffany Richards for her rendition. 869 Designs, Julian Bradshaw, staff of KM Services, and Dr. Jerome Thomas for your kind reflection. Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. Every one of you seated here has made a significant contribution to KM Services, and for that we say thanks. Your friendship and support have made this time possible. KM Services will continue to serve you to the best of their ability. May we continue to strive, holding up each other and ensuring that we reach our full potential for us and our nation. We thank you for your support as we celebrate 25 years, and we look forward to another 50 and beyond next celebration. Have a blessed day, and may God continue to bless our federation. At this time, I want to inform you, at the top of the roundabout, 25 trees have been laid. There are 2 that has to be laid by Alexis Jeffers, his first client, Miss Ivy, and Karim. They're going to throw the dirt on the first 2 at the top. First one at the top. And for all of you who are here, there are refreshments at the tent, the white tent. If you don't want to take the refreshments, you can stroll through the garden, or you can linger around with company. There are tables that you can sit at or stand. We want to thank you, as this is the end of the program.
Ilondolo